Hey folks, welcome back, or of course, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot for the first time if you're new here. And as I always say, thank you so much for joining me for our pick a card reading. And today's topic is a very straightforward message from the universe. What do you need to hear right now? Basically, what is most helpful and or useful for you to receive as a message today. Now, quick little personal reminder / announcement before we get to picking our piles. Just bear with me. I wanted to remind everybody that I did start selling personal readings recently. And giant shout out and thank you to everyone who has ordered a reading so far. It was an honor to read for you, so thank you again for that. And for those of you who are interested in ordering readings in the future, that link will always be down in the description box below, and I will also be putting it in the top pinned comment beneath this video. So thank you so much. Now, let us choose our piles for today. We're choosing with different tarot decks. We're going to choose with the star card from each one. So for pile number 1 over here on the left, you're choosing with the Wild Reflections Tarot, and I'll show you that image right now. We have a figure on a towel, almost in a desert scene. She's looking pretty contemplative. Beautiful. For pile number 2, your star card is from the Ostara Tarot, and your star card is someone diving for a shooting star, or almost looks like a moon a bit. And last but not least, for our pile number 3 over here on the right, you are choosing the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, and your star card is actually called Starlight, and it almost looks like different elven beings staring up at the cosmos. So quick reminder, pile number 1, you are the Wild Reflections. Pile number 2, you are the Ostara Tarot. And pile number 3, you are the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. But as I always say, you're perfectly welcome to pause right here if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. If you're new to pick a card readings and you want a suggestion for a choosing method, or you just want to take a short, sweet break out of your busy day, please follow my voice right now. So close your eyes and take in a deep, cleansing breath, the deepest breath you've taken all day, and imagine light filling your lungs as you do so. Then hold it for just a few moments. And then when you breathe back out again and open your eyes, where are they drawn most first out of these 3 different piles? And whichever one feels right down in your gut when you look at it, or as you like to say in our community, or your intuition, it feels right down in your intuition, that is the pile I recommend you choose. But whatever your method, you can even just say, this one looks the coolest, let's go with that. That works perfectly fine too. You can drop down to the description box below or the top pinned comment beneath the reading, find the timestamp for your pile, and I'll see you in our chat about the message from the universe of what you need to hear most right now. See you in the reading. Hello there, wonderful pile number 1. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the message you need to hear most right now. And as you recall, you were drawn to the tarot deck of Wild Reflections and its particular star cards. So as we always do when we choose with tarot decks, I'm going to put this right back into said deck. And let's begin today with drawing your tarot spread from, actually we're going to use 2 different tarot decks today. Of course, the main one that you chose, as well as one other, just to hear from Spirit kind of the situation in your life that this message is dealing with, okay? More context for both me and you, so. Well, for sure this one is standing out quite prominently, so we'll take that as number 1. I'm feeling drawn to this part of the deck. Beautiful. And then we're also using, of course, the Pastoral Tarot today and drawing just one card from that deck. So Spirit, please guide us to the right card with this particular deck. Thank you. And this one is quite prominent, so we'll take that. Okay, my wonderful pile number 1, let's begin with the Pastoral Tarot card. And today you received the 3 of Swords. So this card, in my mind as I was drawing, I was kind of asking Spirit, please tell me more about the situation that pile number 1 is in their life. And the 3 of Swords, pile 1, is often about pain. We have a figure here. It almost looks like she's got these 3 different twigs, or you could see them as swords, right, traditionally, sticking out of her back. She's in anguish. She even has, it looks like, bleeding hearts next to her, which is very fitting with the 3 of Swords symbolism as well, because traditionally it's like a picture of a heart being stabbed by the 3 different swords, okay? So pile number 1, I feel like you've been going through some really hard times recently. Maybe specifically because this depiction shows the girl with, it looks like a letter of some sort down at the bottom here, and because of her crying, maybe recently you received some bad news. Maybe recently you got like a literal letter or a message of some sort, digital or not, email or physical, that had you feeling upset. It could have been maybe someone broke up with you. It could have been maybe you lost your job and you got the notice for that. Or it maybe you got a rejection of some sort from a job. Or, maybe you had a loss recently, which of course, my condolences if so, pile number 1. That is never fun to deal with. And, even as we look at other parts of this card, we have like the storms in the background. Sorry, I'm kind of looking at it off camera here, and it almost feels like, because if you look at the symbolism of this particular depiction, over here she's kind of in a summery sort of scene, I guess is how I would call it. And over here on the right, it turns to fall. I mean, the foliage is much more lush over here on the left, and on the right it feels more like autumn, and things have already fallen. We see the leaves on the ground. We see the trees bare. So I wonder too, pile number 1, if recently this message that you received or whatever has been causing you pain recently has been related to the passage of time or like the seasons here, especially at the time that this reading is going up. It's right at the end of August or so, which is kind of as we move from summer into fall, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it could have been, maybe some of you too, you're a student, and I know like autumn is often associated with, say like getting into college or getting into a school of some sort, or maybe it's a teaching job, same thing. It's kind of related to that turn of seasons. Now, that might not relate to all of you or resonate with all of you, but I just did want to mention it if so, okay? That it can also just represent a time of feeling like, oh, everything was going so great, everything's so lush, and then now we're moving into this time of things feeling like they're kind of falling apart, or feeling like it's just not as vibrant as it was, okay? So that's where I'm seeing you, pile number 1. So I have a feeling this message, we'll see, of course, with your other tarot cards that we pulled from your main deck. But I think this is going to be a message that's going to help balm this wound, or it's going to be advice on how to overcome whatever this major pain has been, or whatever this news has been that you have, maybe hasn't been the most fun news to receive. Okay. So let's look at those cards. To begin, we have the inciting incident. Well, we have the star popped up again, but we have it in reverse. And that is very telling, pile number 1, because the star in reverse is often about we have lost hope or faith in something. And being the inciting incident card, as I call the first card in my spread, it's kind of what sparked this. So I think this message or this news, pile number 1, that caused you pain, or whatever has been causing you this anguish recently, has been something that dashed your hopes against the rocks, okay? Because that's what the star reversed means, is I had hope for something, I was waiting for something, oh, it's going to be so great, and then it didn't turn out the way that we expected. Our hopes have been kind of snuffed out, is how I would describe that card. So, lots of anguish so far, we're seeing that once again. Not going through a fun time, are you, pile number 1? But let's see where this card spread is going. So number 2, we have in the recent past the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is a little bit of, an embodiment of a time where we've really had to emotionally process things. Being a king, he's masculine energy, and masculine energy is all about kind of outward focus, it's action. And, especially being the king, he's the master of his suit. Really having to master emotions and things related to relationships, because that is the element of cups, is water, and that's what water represents in tarot. So our hopes have been dashed, and we've been going through a time, and we see that storm again, kind of like we saw in the background of the 3 of Swords, right? We see that storm again, and having to just kind of go through the motions with it, having to keep coping and keep moving along. So I almost feel, pile 1, some of you, this might have been a recent pain, but I think maybe I'm hearing like within the last 6 months to a year or so is really when it all started, when you felt like your hopes were kind of dashed for something that you really, really wanted, or like you thought it was going to turn out better than it actually did. And so in the recent past card with the King of Cups, it's like you've, for a longer time after this pain, you've been having to just kind of put up with it, having to kind of dance in the storm. Like, the storm came my way, things are not really going well, but I just have to roll with the punches, sort of, is kind of the message I'm hearing. So, number one, Spirit is commending you for how you're dealing with it, because the King of Cups upright usually means someone that is handling something very emotionally maturely. Something, that is done with a lot of emotional intelligence. Okay, so number one, pat yourself on the back for that. Mind you. And it's interesting, too, because especially with the conch shell to his mouth, it's like he's announcing something or he's trying to make noise about something. So I wonder if maybe you have been, so for example, those of you that have lost a job, maybe you've been kind of like trying to put the word out there like, hey, I'm available for hire, or maybe even some of you have been trying to express, and this is how you've been dealing with it emotionally, like in a mature way, is expressing yourself through some sort of creativity that requires words or music. So writing, making music, etc., poetry, things like that. And I mean, I'd obviously recommend keep doing that, because this seems to be working out well for you, at least just with emotionally handling it. But the pain is still there, pile number one. That's why the Three of Swords came out as the card to represent how you feel right now about the situation. You still have that anguish. You still have that storm that you're kind of weathering through. All right, let's look at the present position. All right, the Queen of Pentacles reversed. And that in the present position, my friends, tends to represent a time where we feel kind of insecure in a way. And specifically not in an emotional way. The Queen of Pentacles usually tends to deal with more security with material things. So because she's the Queen of Earth, so she's the queen of things regarding our home, things regarding our job and finances and career and things along those lines. Sometimes it can also mean to the body, is how I read Pentacles too, as our body is material, right? From stardust to stardust we go. And so I think maybe some of you, the anguish has turned from this initial dashing of hopes to, okay, I'm coping, and now it's gotten to the point of, well, I'm trying to cope as much as I can, but I feel like my security is being threatened. Especially for those of you that have been like looking for a job replacement after you've lost one. This can represent like feeling like, oh my God, I feel like I don't have the stability that I used to have, which, that's very obvious when you lose a job, right? You're going to feel that. But for you especially, I think it's been like a prolonged feeling of insecurity. And on top of that, too, for those of you that it's not even like job related, it can mean an insecurity, too, and feeling like your world has been shaken. It feels like when there's major events that occur in your life, pile one, that are so upsetting that they're earth shaking. It's like an emotional earthquake has gone through your life and you're just trying to get back to stability and safe ground. And sometimes it's hard. You're trying your best. I see that with the King of Cups, but it's like you're still not quite there yet. So this reading actually might be kind of advice on getting back to that more feeling of like stability and safe ground after this kind of emotional earthquake that came through. And what's interesting too is this particular Queen of Pentacles, she's painting. So we see a bit of that creativity pop up again. Remember what I said, maybe some of you are coping through creativity with like music or the written word. Maybe even some of you are artists too. She's holding a paintbrush. She's painting on the ground on the sunflower. So maybe some of you have even been feeling like a creative block too. Like maybe your creativity was okay for a while and now it's just kind of dying out a little bit with her being reversed. Like you're trying really hard, but, sometimes when life feels unstable or when life feels insecure or we're just not at our emotional best for very, understandable reasons, pile one, we can get writers or creators block, okay? Very common. So maybe even recently you've been struggling to create, you've been feeling there's almost like a feeling of stagnancy here too, because of this pain. It's just like this pain or this thing that made you lose your hope in something has been a stop sign in your life is what I'm seeing intuitively. It's like Spirit put a stop sign up in your face, or life did, I guess I should say. And it's like ever since then, it's just all you can think about is that stop sign, metaphorically speaking. And everything has been it's become your new hub of the wheel of your life, so to speak. It's like everything kind of revolves around this particular issue or this problem or this loss or this anguish of whatever, however it does resonate with you, right? With your specific situation. Yeah, and then let's look at the near future plus the advice. Okay, we have the Three of Cups upright. So we have a bit of a social element popping up here. Interesting. I'll talk about that in 1 second. And then last but not least, we have Temperance. Beautiful card to get as the outcome pile number 1. Because specifically, as you remember, I was talking about things feeling kind of shaky and out of balance, remember? Like that kind of emotional earthquake came along. Well, what does Temperance represent but balance and moderation? That's literally what that card means, okay? So I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. You are well on your way towards moderation and balance. Okay, that's what the outcome card means in this particular spread. You know, we have, interesting too, I just noticed this, it just popped up in my face. We have the storm again. We have lots of storm imagery for you. We have sunshine, of course, on one side, but then we have the storm on the other with the lightning. And I think what this means, pile number 1, is that there might still be some lingering effects of whatever this is with this positive outcome. And I don't say that in a way to like scare you, obviously. I don't want you to think like, oh God, it's going to be as bad as it is right now. I don't see that because you do have the rebalancing of life here with the Temperance card. However, I think something's going to come along that's going to help you cope with it a bit better and help you heal. Because I kind of see this healing from whatever this is, as like a slow emotional healing rather than, you know, an instant, you know, one day you just wake up and you feel better, which is very realistic. Most of the time we don't just wake up and feel better when things happen in our lives. And the key answer to this, pile number 1, how you're going to get there is through other people. I know that sounds odd, but with the Three of Cups, I mean, you can even see here, we have 3 figures dancing on the beach together. And that's because the Three of Cups represents social groups. It represents social events, our harmony with groups of people rather than just one-on-one with, you know, either ourselves or with just one person. It's about whole entire groups and things like that. So if there is any advice from the universe right now, we'll also pull some oracle cards as well for advice and just other glimpses into the future ahead. But if you were to take just one piece of advice right now from the universe based on just the tarot cards, the universe is saying, don't flinch away from socializing. It's really, really easy to get stuck in our shell and kind of hide away when we're feeling upset, when we're feeling like we need to kind of lick our wounds from something that happened that made us really, sad, angry, insert negative emotion here. And we do see kind of that loneliness with a lot of the cards so far. There's kind of a lonely feeling in the Three of Swords. Every other figure here is alone except this Three of Cups. So I think maybe too, for those of you especially that have been isolated recently, this is an especially underlined message and piece of advice from the universe on this situation. Don't shy away from social situations. And in fact, a lot of your healing and a lot of what might get better for you and attaining this balance and coping better is going to be through the healing of your connection with other people. Okay, so that could be as simple as, your family. Maybe you've been kind of shying away from your family recently. You've been kind of turtling away, which is totally understandable because you might be upset. Family. Great group of people. I mean, of course, assuming you get along with them, I know some people don't have the best connections with their family. That's, unfortunately common sometimes. If not family, it could also be even a friend group. Maybe a friend group that you're in, or if you maybe have been kind of isolated recently, you've kind of drifted away from your friend groups, seek out social events where you might meet new people and make new connections, okay? As I always say, extrapolate this reading towards your personal situation, all right? You're going to find your healing and your balance and your temperance in your connections to groups of people, okay? And that might even be, especially if you've gone through something that's very common with other people, like, say loss of a loved one, loss of a job, etc. That group of people might actually be people that meet together for that exact reason. Okay, they do have support groups out there for people that have lost a loved one. They do have support groups out there or like meetup groups for people that maybe are kind of lonely, for an example, or maybe like people that have, are searching or seeking jobs, okay, like job conferences, things along those lines. That is your ticket, pile number 1, towards better happiness. All right, now let's look at some of your oracle cards, though. We're going to draw an angel card today to begin. So angels for pile number 1. Anything special you want to say to them about this whole situation? Advice especially. Thank you. Okay, I'm feeling drawn to this third card. Let's unveil Sacred Plan. Okay, now the beauty of this card, pile number 1, is really it's just another phrase for divine timing. And as we all know, divine timing is, well, a sacred plan is kind of, it's self-explanatory, but divine timing you could also describe as things are meant to happen when they're meant to happen, okay? And sometimes, that is a difficult message to hear when we have gone through a loss of some sort. Oftentimes, when we lose someone that we love, or we lose a job, or whatever your pain has been, it can be insensitive to hear sometimes, oh, well, it was supposed to happen. Okay, because, we often think, well, but why? Like, that doesn't really help me. That doesn't really heal me. So I almost kind of want to rephrase this as, there's something about, for those of you especially where it wasn't a lost loved one, for example, if it was like a lost job or a rejection of some sort, I'm almost hearing you dodged a bullet in some way. Okay. For those of you that have lost a loved one, which, once again, my condolences if so, pile number 1. We've all been there ourselves. We all know loss, unfortunately. Then this card is really a message from your angels more about the way we go and when we go is when we're supposed to and how we're supposed to go. Okay, so it's kind of a confirmation of comfort, at least in a small way, as much as you can be comforted when you lose a loved one, that it was in divine timing when it occurred. Okay. And on top of that, too, the pain that you're going through right now, as much as we shy away from suffering when it comes to life, it's never fun to go through suffering, obviously, because, that's kind of inherent in the word suffering, right? Oftentimes when we lose people or lose jobs or lose things, or are sad or upset, or our hopes have been dashed, it's because we're learning an important lesson about something. Okay, so right now, based on your tarot cards, for an example, one lesson you maybe are going through could be, the lesson of healing after a major loss, or more specifically, using like the 3 of Cups as the example, how to find connection and love again after we have lost love and connection in the past, okay? Because oftentimes they describe grief as, I'm sure you guys have heard this quote before, grief is love that has nowhere to go. So if you choose somewhere to pour that love into, and that focus and that attention into, you can find ways to channel it, that it might not obviously bring back what you lost, right, or who you lost, but sometimes we find satisfaction and healing and lessening of suffering when we do have places to put that love to that right now feels like it's kind of stopped up and has nowhere to go. It's almost kind of like undamming a river, right? Taking out the old debris and letting it flow somewhere new that could use our attention and could use our love, okay? So, beautiful message right there. Sacred plan, all is in divine timing. Everything happens when it is supposed to. And then let's grab a card from the Ask Your Guides Oracle. We're going to chat with your spirit guides with this one. So spirit guides of pile 1, anything you want to give them advice on or what you want to say to them? Oh, well, that was quite quick. We have opposition. Interesting. Number 49 with nature spirits. Number 49, opposition. Opposing. I almost get the sense that for some of you, this anguish had been maybe someone was chosen over you and you felt like you got left behind, or that you were the one that lost out, like, oh, you came second best and someone else came first. That might be the cause of the pain of it for some of you. Opposition too can also, I'm hearing intuitively, represent some of you that are going through experiences in life right now where like, you ever have those periods of time in life where it feels like every single step forward you take is just 2 steps back? Or, like, the imagery they're showing me, and I hate to put it comedically because it's not funny, but, like, this is just what's coming forward, so I'm sorry if it comes off as goofy, but it's like someone walking forward, and then they step on a rake, like, kind of like a cartoon character would, and then the rake pops up and then smacks them right in the face with, like, the handle of the rake. It's like that kind of energy I'm feeling from this card. So it's like spirit guides acknowledging the opposition that you've come across. Sometimes in life, it really just feels like everything is flowing against you. It feels like the universe has forgotten you. It feels like everything is just not going your way. And sometimes, too, it can feel like everybody else is winning, so why do I always feel like I have to lose? Like, that's kind of the feeling I'm hearing coming forth from you with this reading, pile number 1 collectively. And so what spirit guides want to say on that is, actually, I'm going to draw one more tarot card on that, see what their advice is for that. Spirit guides, what's your advice for the opposition card for pile 1? Thank you. Right there. And we have the Page of Wands reversed. Okay, so upright, he is, almost looks like a lumberjack. He's cutting some wood. But reversed, it's a message of something you could do in terms of advice. Okay, when you come across opposition, pile number 1 in life, in terms of it feels like everything is against you, it feels like everyone else is always winning and you're always losing, the Page of Wands reversed is a card of advice to get creative. It's a card of fire, being wands in tarot, which means something to do with, yes, our creativity, as I said. It has to do with your ambitions. It also has to do with what makes you feel alive. What is your spark, so to speak? I almost wonder if part of your way forward is not to keep going forward on the same path. And I say that, pile number 1, because you have so many cards that are like flowing imagery of like a river. Not just the storm, but you also have, like the river kind of imagery. I mean, almost like the sacred plan, divine timing here is like a golden river. And then there's almost like rivers flowing around the opposition card. I almost feel like you're battling up the wrong current. You're going against the flow. So if you were to look at your situation in a creative way, explore different options, because that's what pages are really. Well, number 1, sometimes they're called youths, sometimes they're called students, but I always like to call them explorers, because what they do is they explore new ideas in their realm of power, which, as I said, like wands, fire is creativity, ambition, what makes you feel alive. So for those of you who have creative blocks, try something completely avant-garde and out there. For those of you that are trying to overcome a sense of loneliness, try to meet up with people that you might, on paper at first, not necessarily think that you would get along with, or that you feel like you might not have a connection with, okay? Try things in ways you haven't tried before. Same thing too if you are running into opposition where it feels like everything is against you, everyone else is winning, you're losing. It might be that that path isn't meant for you. Maybe the path is a different path that you haven't seen yet. Okay, so I think if you keep running into blocks, pile 1, the best advice from Spirit here is then don't keep running against the block. Choose a different path that isn't blocked to you, okay? Be creative and curious like that Page of Wands, and that will help you go forward through the oppositions and blocks that you're seeing here, okay? All right, and I think Sacred Planning coming out as well. It's also a message that maybe avoiding this path that you're on right now, if you keep coming up across blocks in your face, or like that rake I was talking about, where every time you take a step, it just hits you in the face with the handle, right? It's almost divine timing or a sacred plan for you to take that other path. Okay. All right. And then last but not least, let's look at your surrender card. It's kind of a nice final advice card from Spirit on your situation, what you need to hear most today. Spirit, anything else you want to say is parting words to pile 1? Thank you. Right there. Okay. I'm feeling drawn to this card right here. So we have Look what just popped out, pile number 1. I swear to God. I was like, sacred plan sounds like divine timing, and look what just popped out. Well, we have Big Ben there, it almost looks like, or at least some kind of clock tower. Surrender to divine timing. Sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. So I apologize, it's a bit repetitive. It's kind of like what I was just saying with sacred plan. But you have a bit of a synchronicity there, pile number 1, with, look at that, divine timing came out again. So I won't repeat it too much, but just to summarize once again, I think there's a really big element of everything you're going through right now that is related to a plan or a divine timing, okay? If you got rejected, that was in divine timing. If, once again, my condolences, but if you did lose somebody, pile number 1, it was within divine timing. If you lost a job or were rejected from a job, that was divine timing. It's for a reason, and there is something better coming along. We do see that temperance, remember that balance is coming, through your connections to other people. And maybe if you chose a path where maybe there isn't so much opposition, okay? But other than that, sometimes all we can do in life is surrender to divine timing. Sometimes all we have the capability to do, even when we've lost our hope or our faith, like the Star Reversed indicates, is sometimes we have to rely on faith anyways, even if it feels like we don't have any faith left. Sometimes faith is all you have, okay? And Spirit's promising that your faith will be paid, or repaid, I should say. Things will get better. Things are coming. It's just within a divine plan, pile number 1, okay? So that is what I'll leave you with for your reading today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope, of course, most of all that it resonated with you and helped you. That's what I care about most, that you walk away feeling helped, but also that you liked it. And if so, please like the video, comment down below. Please subscribe to Lone Pine Tarot if you have not done so already. And as I always say in our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the message you need to hear most right now. And as you recall, you were drawn to the star card from the beautiful Ostara Tarot. Now, as we always do when we pick with tarot decks, I'm going to put this right back into said deck, and we're going to start with drawing your tarot spread today from 2 different decks. So, calling on Spirit today to speak more about what they want to discuss with pile number 2 for their highest, best good. Thank you so much. So this part of the reading, pile 2, is going to give us some context as to what Spirit wants to talk to you about. All right, feeling drawn to this part of the deck. Right there. And let's draw from this section. Okay, and then let's draw from the Pastoral Tarot today, asking Spirit to represent your position or how you feel in all of this situation. Right there, we'll draw that one. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, and let's unveil your cards today, pile number 2. So from the Pastoral Tarot, you received the 5 of Swords. We have 2 blue jays duking it out. Literally, we have one on the branch defending itself, and we have one flying with a stick in its talons about to strike, which is very representative of the 5 of Swords as meaning pile number 2, aka a conflict of some sort, a bit of a verbal battle, or a bit of a lashing of tongues, okay? A little bit of maybe the fight of ideas, one against the other, especially because the 5 of Swords represents air, being in the air suit, and the air suit is all about the way we speak, our intelligence, and our ideas. Sometimes it can also mean challenges, though, too. So pile number 2, what that means for you is Spirit wants to talk to you about a situation in your life where recently you have felt conflict especially when it comes to verbal battles. Arguments is another really good word to use with the Five of Swords, especially harsh ones that kind of hurt, because, in contrast to the Five of Wands, if you'd gotten that one, the Five of Wands is more about like, people's egos are clashing. Five of Swords is more like cutting, is how I kind of see it. So I think a lot of you have recently maybe had a verbal battle of some sort or argument that was harsh, and or if you have not had that recently and you're kind of wondering like, well, that doesn't really relate to me, right? It might also represent the battle of ideas within your mind, kind of almost represented by the two blue jays duking it out. You have one idea over here that maybe you want to go with, or one idea over this side that you want to go with, or it could also be that, say there's some situation in your life where two ideas are kind of fighting each other, and you might actually be on the fence. Like maybe say, it's at work and there's like two methods of thought that are kind of duking it out at your job, where like you have maybe like this person over here saying, let's take the company in this direction or the project or whatever, and then someone over here kind of arguing against that, and maybe you kind of got caught in the fray, kind of got caught in the crosshairs, some friendly fire, right? Something along those lines is what that card represents. Now, let's get some more context with your Ostara Tarot. So the first card, the inciting incident, I like to call it, we have more swords. We have the Knight of Swords, and literally this particular card is very fitting because I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, Pile 2, my apologies, but I will tell you there's literally a battle in the background. We have, let me look at it a bit closer, wounded soldiers in the background. He literally is gearing up and getting ready to deck someone with his sword. He even has like a bear head on his head, or bear skin, I should say. And on top of that, it's in a wintry scene, which kind of represents symbolically, Pile, to a feeling of, this is kind of stark, it's kind of cold, maybe a bit, heartless. It's not really a warm place to be, not fun. So as the inciting incident card, Pile number 2, what I see that represent is that this all began because there was somebody who took action with a sharp word or a sharp argument. Okay? Or it could have been maybe someone, if this is more like an idea-related fight for you, if that's more how it resonated with you with the Five of Swords, it could be, this is like an idea that kind of started coming to mind, and it pretty much just started dousing all the other ideas. Kind of almost like this soldier having fought all the other knights in the background and succeeding, and they're just like bleeding out. And he's still just charging forward. On top of that, the Knight of Swords can also represent, in terms of speed, he's the fastest knight of the four, compared to, say, Wands, Cups, Pentacles, etc. The Knight of Wands, the Knight of Swords is really, really quick. So it could have been something that happened quite out of the blue. I mean, you can even feel like the speed here as he's charging, and he's almost battle crying. Oh boy, so I can tell there's lots of air energy here that's a little bit frantic. Maybe even some literal battles of some sort in terms of people getting quite heated. We'll see. Let's look at the recent past card. We have the King of Cups reversed. Okay, well, that's an interesting twist here, Pile number 2, because what that tells me, we have another court card, and sometimes court cards can represent people. I forgot to mention that with the Knight of Swords. So actually, this Knight of Swords might have been a younger, more masculine energy person. It tends to be maybe an air sign because he is the Knight of Swords, right? I just wanted to mention that. And then we have a King of Cups, which is usually maybe a little bit of an older masculine figure with maybe a water sign as their astrological symbol, right? Or like their birth sign, I should say, sun sign. And so what he represents, though, even if it's not just a person, is a time where emotional immaturity reigns king, okay? So basically, not only are maybe people getting into conflicts and like things are just kind of chaotic and frenetic, right? People are not being very mature. Especially with the King of Cups reversed, that tells me as a tarot reader, Pile 2, people aren't being very adult about things. Okay, so not only are you dealing with all this chaos, I feel like, or, different, I mean, even for those of you where it's like different ideas clashing in your mind and it's like one is really winning out over the other, but maybe you don't want that one to win. Like, even so, it's like this feeling of, things are not emotionally stable, things are not... people are not emotionally stable with this. I get the feeling intuitively, Pile number 2, that even though we haven't had a Wands card come up yet, maybe we will here in the next 3 cards, there's ego fueling a lot of this. This feels like very ego-driven. I need to be right. It's my way or the highway. We're going to do this, and you're just going to deal with it kind of energy is what I'm feeling. So especially if you've been dealing with someone like that recently, Pile 2, my condolences. That's never fun to deal with. I do pick up on that energy for at least some of you. Let's look at the present position card. Let's more context. Oh boy. Okay. Then we got the Lovers reverse. So some of you, this might actually be arguments with someone that you love, like maybe a romantic partner or a very close friend, if not romantic, or even like a close family relationship. Lovers does technically, like I said, represent most of the time romantic, but not always though. Usually someone that you get along with really well, but reversed, it's the harmony is out of askew here. Harmony is askew and things are not going great. So right now is what I'm seeing. This is your present position. The universe / spirit is saying relationships are kind of rocky because of, excuse me as I clear my throat. Ooh, oofta. Relationships are kind of rocky because of the verbal fighting and the emotional immaturity. For those of you where this is a romantic relationship, as the Lovers might indicate, the relationship might be kind of on the rocks right now. Same thing too if it's like a workplace situation. People are arguing. Well, the harmony at this workplace sure is not going very well. And for those of you, interestingly enough, too, where, like I said, it might be a battle of ideas more so. The Lovers traditionally could also represent being stuck between two different choices. It's kind of like a Two of Swords sometimes as well, if you're familiar with that card in tarot. And if that is the case, pile number 2, this can represent being really stuck between two different choices. Okay. Like, I'm at a complete stalemate, and even in general, too, if this is like a verbal argument thing here, pile 2, with your situation, if that's how this resonates with you more, complete stalemate energy. This is like, nothing's going anywhere, nothing's getting done, progress is halted to a glacial pace. It's like the Titanic hitting the iceberg, and now it's just sinking. Everything's splitting in half, disharmony, because no one's being mature, no one's getting along, no one's agreeing on anything. Okay, so that's what this universe wants to talk to you about today. Now let's look at the future cards here. Near future, we have the King of Pentacles reversed. We'll talk about that in a moment. We have another King popping up, lots of court cards. I think, with so many court cards popping up, pile 2, I want to mention this before I do look at the outcome too, and then read this more specifically, but when I see a lot of court cards in a reading, that tends to represent to me as a tarot reader that there's a lot of people involved, because the court cards do tend to represent people sometimes. It's almost like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. That might be part of the issue as well. There's just too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's like making everything chaotic, and there's too many people saying my way or the highway, okay? And then we'll talk about the meaning of the King of Pentacles in a second. And then we have as the outcome the Five of Wands. We'll look at that. Remember I mentioned the Five of Wands before? Because I was like, oh, well, the Five of Swords is more intense than the Five of Wands. Well, now you got the Five of Wands, too, as the outcome. Okay. I do want to tell you this, pile number 2. Excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat again. Whew. For some reason, my voice just needs a lot of clearing today. In terms of predictions, I am seeing that... Okay, hear me out. Because at first you might flinch a little bit. I think the fighting will continue, at least on the path that you're on right now. Now, tarot is a snapshot of a timeline. It doesn't always mean that it's going to turn out this way. You can take the advice from this reading, and if you have enough control in the situation, sometimes things are just out of your control too, pile number 2. Sometimes you can turn things around, but right now on the way things are going, which you probably might already know this based on everything going on so far, it's kind of like, oh, well, that makes sense, right? Not only is it a path in the near future towards a lack of stability because of the King of Pentacles reversed, and especially for those of you that this is job-related or career-related, a King of Pentacles, that is his wheelhouse, is, career, finances, etc., that can mean instability at your workplace, okay? Especially when it comes to maybe like a big boss of some sort. Maybe someone's getting let go over this, like a CEO or someone high up in the company, because a King of Pentacles would be like someone, especially masculine energy, it tends to represent being a king. Someone high up is like, might get let go or something, or like they get so upset that they just leave because like no one's getting along, or they're not going along with their plan instead of someone else's. It's kind of like... Yeah, and then especially, too, with the Five of Wands, that's that battle of egos I was talking about earlier when I said, well, the Five of Swords isn't as much about ego as the Five of Wands is. Well, no, you got that card. So really what it's going to descend into, pile number 2, is, at least on this timeline, it's a situation of, it starts out as being out about ideas, and then it devolves into... the battle of egos with that Five of Wands now that the fire element is introduced, okay? So I just want to be, well, an honest tarot reader and say that on the path you're on right now with this, or everyone involved, it might not technically end pretty, okay? But don't worry, because number one, like I said, that doesn't always mean it'll turn out that way if things change or like other factors. You know, maybe someone might come into play that helps stabilize the disharmony, okay? It could be that maybe you have, like I said, some control in the situation and you're able to turn things around. And then also we'll see some other advice with the oracle cards that I draw here in just a few moments. But I am saying that this is just going to develop into a battle of egos. And in a battle of egos, nobody wins. Okay, so I think what Spirit wants to say by mentioning that to you with this spread is they're kind of warning you about the way that it's going. You know, maybe you already kind of have an intuitive sense that this is the path that it's going down. And so it's like Spirit saying, yes, your intuition is right. This is exactly where it's going. And on top of that, you know, even if this isn't necessarily the best outcome, pile number 2, the best thing about tarot when it does tell us that we might not have the best outcome with this situation is it gives us tools to then prepare for that. Okay, it's better to be prepared for things that happen in life than caught unawares, right? So let's look at your oracle cards. Let's begin with, we're going to ask angels. We're going to draw an angel guide card here. Angels of pile number 2, what advice do you have for them with this situation? Maybe to make it better, you know, or to help maybe avoid the worst outcome, or at least prepare for it, where like they get like the least I almost want to say friendly fire from what's going on. And, you know, that's the sense that I'm getting, pile number 2. For most of you, I don't think you're the one causing the problems. I'm not getting the sense that you are the one with the battle of egos going on. It almost feels like you're kind of a bystander. And, like, but you have no ability, really. I think most of you, it feels like it's not really your problem, but it's still affecting you, is what I'm feeling. So a lot of you, this might be workplace related. It's like the big cheeses at your work just duking it out, and everyone is just trying to not get hit with the shrapnel. Like, please don't let your bomb go off and attack the rest of us, right? It's kind of that feeling. I feel drawn to this card. Let's see what your angels say. We have surrender. Okay. So this card from your angels pile number 2 is a bit of a nudge towards... Okay, this is going to be not difficult advice, pile number 2. It really depends on your situation, but overall, this is like your angel saying it's out of your control. And I know for some of you, you might hear that and be like, oh God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this back on track? There's something about this occurring the way that it does where you're meant to surrender to it, where you're not meant to have control over it, especially for those of you where it's something that you're not really like the main person arguing or getting into fights with people. And like I said, for most of you, I don't feel like that's you. That's not the sense I'm getting. Even in the gesture of this angel's hands, he's like just letting something go. He's like, oh, I'm just going to let it go. Let the pieces fall where they may, because it's almost like, it's one of those situations in life, pile number 2, where, you know, we always talk about, at least on my channel, if you've been here before, like life lessons or things that are supposed to happen. And sometimes, in our lives, those things are supposed to happen, and they do because it's a lesson for us, and sometimes it's a lesson for other people involved. This situation to me intuitively almost feels like it's a lesson more for the other people involved, and like unfortunately you're kind of tied to it. There might be kind of a minor lesson for you to learn from this as well, but it's like Spirit saying to you with this card, or your angels I should say specifically, like you just have to kind of surrender, but it's going to be okay. Okay, because the other thing that we see with this card is look at his expression on his face. He looks quite relieved. Like, you know what? Maybe I will just let this go, and we'll see where the pieces fall. Let the pieces fall where they may. It's not in my... It's almost kind of like the phrase coming forward, pile 2, is like, it's not your circus, it's not your monkeys, okay? As much as you might worry, as much as you fear that, you know, maybe like you feel responsible for this, or you feel like you have to fix it, it really doesn't feel like that with that surrender card. It almost feels like spirits or angels saying, just let the reins go for those of you that have been trying to fix this and let the pieces fall where they may. Because honestly, this kind of situation, pile number 2 is a tarot reader. I'm just going to say this with all these cards that kind of, they represented where this has been stemming from. It's one of those situations that it's hard to control if you're not one of the main people fighting, okay? So just surrender, and let the universe take the reins from here. Let's look at your Ask Your Guides Oracle, see what your guides have advice on. Okay, Spirit Guides collectively for pile 2. What would you like to say on the situation for them? Thank you. We've had a lot of cards today, not just with you, pile 2, but with pile 1 as well, about surrendering to divine timing. There's a lot about, letting go. So I don't know if, collectively, a lot of us are going through, in our communities, through times of needing just to let go of things. So I just wanted to emphasize that, because it's you're not alone and coming up across situations where it's things might not turn out the best, okay? Or, you can't always control the outcome, I guess is another way to phrase that. I think a lot of us are going through, I don't know if there's some, energy thing going on, or it's just a lot of chaotic, I don't know. It's one of those times where it feels it's kind of the phrase coming forward is you need to break a bone before it can be set and healed correctly. It's a break a bone kind of energy going on, I'm feeling collectively with our community. And we're unfortunately, a lot of us are kind of in the breaking a bone situation part, and we're not quite at the healing part yet. So this is what this is. It's breaking a bone, and then it'll set and heal correctly. Let's look at your Ask Your Guides. Ooh, success. Beautiful. So you know what this is, pile number 2? It's interesting. We have a pomegranate here. It makes me think of Persephone, right? She was the goddess of the underworld, wife of Hades in Greek mythology, right? Success is, I think your spirit guide's saying that no matter what, though, despite the angel saying surrender, just let it go, let the pieces fall where they may, your spirit guides are saying you're going to turn out successful anyways with this. Okay, things are going to be okay. So really this card from your guides pile 2 is just a reassurance that it's going to turn out fine. Okay, I think you might already kind of know that, because especially here with the imagery of the star over her, it's her third eye chakra, kind of leaning into her crown chakra. It's an intuition. We associate the third eye with our intuition, being able to see. And I think you already kind of know that your way that you're going to wend out of this so that you come out, more unscathed, right? And you're going to come out on top, and you're going to be successful despite all of this. So just be assured that you're going to be okay. It's going to be fine, okay? Yes, it might feel right now that it's a Titanic hitting an iceberg, but I feel you're one of the people that are going to get onto the lifeboat and get the rescue, okay? That's kind of what this card feels like to me. So just be reassured. Your spirit guides are saying you're going to be successful. It's going to be fine. Same thing too, if maybe you're afraid that this fighting and these arguments are going to maybe inhibit the success of something, say a project at work, just as one example. This is saying that don't worry, that thing will have success anyways. It's almost kind of the spirit reminding you too that there's a bit of a protection here of you. That even though you feel the effects of all of this infighting and disharmony, you're kind of protected in a way. You're kind of set aside in a bit more of a bubble, even though it kind of sucks to have to witness all of this. And chaos is never fun to deal with emotionally. But at the same time, pile 2, it's just mind your own circus. Okay, mind your own stuff. Your little bubble of where you are and everything that you're going to have will be fine. Okay. Let that circus and those monkeys fling poo at each other, I guess is how I would put that, right? Because that's what monkeys do, right? I guess that's kind of what it feels like right here. It's just people arguing over, it almost feels like mundane stuff that doesn't even matter. It's just ego. I mean, like I said with that 5 of Wands at the end, it just feels like it just devolves into ego battle rather than... It's they forget what they're actually fighting for, because now, people are just offended and upset, so then it turns into a battle of ego. It's just... It devolves, and it's just... But anyways, I digress, pile number 2. Just... You'll be fine. Okay. You have a lot of cards about surrendering and success. Things will be okay. And then let's look at, last but not least, your Power of Surrender card, kind of as a final message from Spirit as to advice on this, or kind of what's coming. So Spirit, anything else you want to say to pile 2 about this with the surrender card? Thank you. Okay, that one feels most prominent, so we'll take it. We have, you know, pile 2, this happened with pile 1 today. Their surrender card was kind of a repeat. But I'll say it again, because Spirit brought it out again. Surrender to effortlessness. Stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. So they're really emphasizing, and I know it might be difficult, pile 2, because when you see chaos, you might be the type of person that immediately is like, I gotta fix it, right? Maybe you kind of like having control over things because you're afraid of chaos, which is A-okay, 100% understandable. I've been there too, pile 2, as is probably everybody else watching this video, right? But they're really emphasizing you need to let go of the reins. You need to surrender. You need to surrender to effortlessness, specifically, like it says, stop pushing so hard. Go with the flow. Don't force the river. Okay, so, you know, if you are involved in the argument itself, let the argument go. If you are not involved in the argument, but it's affecting you and you're trying to fix it for everybody involved, let it go. Let them argue. Let them devolve into ego battles, okay? Just focus on your own work, your own circus, as we talked about. Let them and those monkeys deal with their own circus, okay? Just let go, okay? I think it's also probably good for your mental health to let go, too. And maybe even kind of silo yourself a little bit if you can, if that's possible. I know sometimes it's not possible, pile 2, but silo yourself if possible in terms of just trying to reduce your exposure to kind of the crap going on, I guess, or the poo flinging as we described with the monkeys before. And just think about, well, what's my goal today? What do I need to focus on? Okay. What's important for me to get done? What's important for me to try to bring to fruition and success? And what do I not have to worry about because it's not my circus and not my monkeys? Okay. So if there's any piece of advice you walk away from this reading from that you remember, it's let go. Okay. So that's your reading for today, my wonderful pile number 2. If you liked it, and of course, most of all, if it helped you, because that's what I care about most, is you walk away feeling like you've been helped in some way, please like the video. Please comment down below. Please subscribe to Lone Pine Tarot if you have not done so already. And as I always say in our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, hopefully with a lot less chaos in the future, right? And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 2. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3. Welcome today to your Pick a Card reading about what the universe wants you to hear most right now. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the beautiful deck of Forest of Enchantment, and specifically your star card was called Starlight. So, as we always do when we choose with tarot decks, I'm going to put your pile leader right back into the deck, and let's begin today, speaking of drawing your 2 different tarot deck spreads. Okay, so Spirit calling for pile number 3 collectively today. For their highest, best good in mind, please tell us a little bit more about the situation you want to talk to them about. Thank you. What part of their life does this deal with? What is the context, so to speak? And intuitively, pile number 3, I'm getting the sense of a lot of you. It's a lot of tension recently. I don't know if you're really stressed out about something. Okay, that's one right there. You're really stressed out about something. Specifically, I feel like some of you also even are getting stressed to the point of you're getting like neck pain. It's like neck pain specifically for some reason. So that's not fun to deal with, pile number 3. Especially when things are so stressful, it starts to affect your like actual like muscles. You get tension, right? So Spirit is emphasizing that. So we do have some tension and stress. You're worried about something, I think. Yeah. And then neck pain. Okay. And then Spirit, please, with this deck, tell us a little bit more about pile 3's role in the situation. How do they feel? What's going on? Thank you. There we go. And the 4th card I'm feeling drawn to, so we'll pick that one. So let's begin pile number 3. Thank you for waiting while I shuffled. For your Pastoral Tarot, how do you feel? Oh boy, well, we have the 8 of Cups. And the Eight of Cups in this particular deck, pile 3, represents the Dust Bowl. So as you all know, or maybe this is new to you, but the Dust Bowl was a time in, I believe, basically American history where not only, I think it was the Great Depression, if I'm not mistaken, but on top of that, a lot of places in the United States dealt with really bad droughts and really bad crop failure. Okay, so that's why we see a farm here with lots of sand and dust everywhere. The well is not drawing any water, and this guy is just like, you know what, I can't stay here anymore, I have to leave. Okay, he's leaving everything he knows behind because there's nothing left for him here, and that's perfectly emblematic of the Eight of Cups, because the Eight of Cups, pile 3, represents emotionally moving forward and leaving something behind that no longer serves us. Okay, so I think part of what I'm feeling with the stress, tension, worry pile number 3 is either you're in a situation where you're debating about leaving something behind that's no longer serving you. Maybe it's even literally a physical place like this guy in the Dust Bowl. He's like, man, I can't grow anything here. I gotta leave, right? I gotta move house. So some of you, it might literally be a physical move of some sort, but you're not quite sure if you want to leave yet. For some of you, it might be less about a physical move and more about like an emotional feeling of I need to move on. Or for those of you that have already moved on, you might be looking back and you might just be on those first steps away like this guy is and asking yourself, did I make the right move? Maybe that's the stress and the tension and the worry of like, oh God, should I have left that all behind? Should I have stayed? Should I stay or should I go? The, classic question. Okay. So let's look at your tarot spread to see more context from the other, like your main deck here. And I think part of the worry too, pile 3, even if you are either, you have already left and you're wondering if you should have left, or if you're wondering if you should leave but you haven't left yet, you fear another storm coming. It's like almost like that dust storm in the background here behind this guy. But we'll see if the storm is real. Okay, so the first card of the inciting incident is the Ace of Cups reversed. Okay, so pile number 3. What that tends to represent as the inciting incident is what I call the very first card in my typical spread. Is this all stem from of a feeling of, well, speaking of water, like the well being dry, the cup suit is all about water. Things were not lush where you were, especially with the being the Ace of Cups. The Ace is like things should have been like new coming your way. You should have been getting like new blessings. Same thing too with Cups. It can be like new positive feelings or new positive relationships, but it's just like nothing really was coming your way. This place has been dry. This place has been a drought. And, some of you that might resonate in a physical, literal way, but some of you might resonate in a metaphorical way. Maybe you were in a place or currently are, if you haven't left yet, of, like there's nothing new coming in. This feels so dry. This feels so like there's just nothing of fruition here for me. Like I said with the word lush, I meant that, literally maybe you're leaving a place that's a desert, right? But metaphorically, it can also mean when we say lush, something that's vibrant, something that makes you feel like this is a healthy place to be in. And what I'm seeing here with this Ace of Cups reversed in the very beginning, pile number 3, is this place just does not have the vibrancy. It does not have the blessings. It does not have the people, the happiness that I seek. Okay. And interestingly too, this specific version of the Ace of Cups has a swan, and it's looking down in the reflection of the water, and it has a crown and like a jeweled necklace on its body. So it's like I almost wonder if you feel a bit naive. I wonder if you feel like, man, I was kind of naive to go this way. Like you thought that it would look great or that it would be great, and it's like, man, I got here and it just really wasn't serving me. It's like reality came through, an illusion was shattered. Let's look at your other cards too. I would not be surprised if like the moon reversed came out. You'd be like, oh man, I finally realized this place isn't what I expected. Yeah, let's look at the second card. We have, okay, the Two of Wands reversed. Okay, so this gives us more context, pile number 3. Part of also what was the issue I'm feeling, whether, like I said, you've left or not, or you already have and you're looking back, is your plans were going nowhere. That's what the Two of Wands reversed means. It's you have plans for the future, but they're absolutely just like going nowhere. Or you had plans and they kept getting derailed, or it could also mean too, you kept trying to make plans, but it's like every option you thought of when it came to plans on staying where you were, be it a relationship, a job, be it a physical location, what have you, it's just like, there's nothing here for me that really was just, there's nothing. There's literally nothing. It's just like the Dust Bowl. It's like, man, there's just nothing grows here. Nothing's going my way. Nothing makes sense anymore. Okay. Let's look at the present position here. Okay. Then we have another Wands card, the Eight of Spells or Wands reversed. Typically upright, pile 3, that represents something going very fast, but reversed, it's, ooh, this is really, really slow. This is going a lot slower than I expected. So I think where you are right now, pile 3, is that momentum of slowness. It's in that feeling of stagnancy. So like I said, for some of you that might be, you're in the stagnancy of you're trying to move on, but it's going slower than you expect. Very possible. Maybe like you're trying to move, it's going slower than you expect. Maybe things are getting in the way, so you can't really literally walk away from that Dust Bowl ridden cabin on the frontier. And some of you, it's that you did leave, but finding the replacement or finding, greener pastures somewhere else has been slow going. Okay, so I really wrote this, to nail this, reading down to brass tacks, pile number 3, is Spirit is addressing a general feeling of dissatisfaction you've had recently. It's not some of you, it might have been a big loss. I'm not going to count that out, right? For most of you, I don't think it was like a big, like ultra major, like, oh no, loss. It was just a feeling of, well, no, now is the time to move on. There's nothing here for me anymore. And it's that dissatisfaction with where you were, trying to seek something better. Maybe it even was like a job that you left and it was like, man, it paid the bills. It got the job done, excuse the pun. But at the same time, it was like, I'm really, really not feeling emotionally satisfied here. I don't really feel the verve that I typically have for life when I'm here, okay? Maybe even whatever it was you were doing or where you were sucked your soul out. Maybe it was just soul killing. It was just like, oh man, I feel like a zombie getting up every single day. It's that kind of dissatisfaction, pile number 3, okay? Now let's look at the advice / near future card. We have... boom, the Seven of Cups reversed. Speaking of illusions breaking. Okay, so the Seven of Cups is a tricky card in terms of what it means, pile number 3, because I love it a lot, but it's kind of a complex card compared to a lot of the other ones. And what it represents here, especially if we look at it upright, is different options, different dreams. It's the card of daydreaming. It's the card of... how we feel about the future is another really good phrase to use. It's also a card of, going from dreaming into action, making dreams reality versus kind of staying in the dream state and not taking action. And you got it reversed, pile 3. So what that means is there's kind of a twofold message here. In terms of advice, if you're looking for advice out of the stagnancy and the feeling of I need to get out of here, or I got out of here, but I don't know where the heck to go now or what I want, it's a card saying, instead of dreaming and dreaming and thinking and thinking and thinking, just choose something. Okay? Oftentimes in life, when we take a path forward, we don't even know where we're going. Oftentimes we're like, well, this is just the way forward. I'm just going to go this way. I have no idea if this is the right path, but we're going to take it. Just like this guy leaving his house in the Dust Bowl. He literally is like, I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to end up. All I know is that I can't stay here, so I have to take action. So that's the piece of advice with this card. In terms of predictions, though, pile number 3, it can also represent a time in life where we're not able quite yet to get that speed going of momentum, like we see the slowness here with the Eight of Wands reversed in your present position. So you might be for a while still kind of going through a time of deliberating, of choosing between different dreams or different options, okay? And for some of you, unfortunately, that might be slightly disappointing to hear, because you might be like, man, especially with that Eight of Wands reversed, you're like, I want to get this going. I want this fast. I want to go full speed ahead. But sometimes in life, pile number 3, we're invited to slow down. Okay. So really key overall advice here in the near future is find and strike a good balance between deliberating and taking action. Okay. Some of you might be taking action too fast and not thinking about it. Sometimes you might be thinking way too much about something and not taking action fast enough, okay? So find a good balance between the two. And then I'll talk about that in a little bit more after we see your final outcome card, because sometimes that gives extra context. So you did receive, the King of Cups, the Keeper of Cups, or Visions, as it says, reversed. All right. So pile number 3, as an outcome card as well as maybe advice here with this situation you're leaving behind. The King of Cups reversed can represent a person. Sometimes the court cards are people. And if it's a person, it tends to be older masculine energy, potentially a water sign because it is the cup suit. Even, you can see here he's a fish, right? So maybe even Pisces, right? That might be a heads up that there's someone in your near future that represents those energies that might help you find the direction you're looking for. And the reason why, if that's the case, he is reversed is because Spirit is saying you might be on the path towards missing him and his advice, especially, being typically like a king represents, an older masculine figure typically. Oftentimes those, older people in life have a lot of sage wisdom to share because they've been through things that you've already been through. And they might be able to give you some insight that you aren't quite seeing yet. So for those of you that are finding yourself daydreaming or thinking and not taking enough action, especially with that 7 of Cups reversed here, that's why you're being asked to just take a direction, take action, go somewhere, because your answer will be found with this King of Cups that right now, if you keep doing the thinking, not enough action, you might miss him. Okay. Sometimes too, if it doesn't represent a person, pile number 3, it could also represent a time where, well, it's interesting because, the King of Cups reversed can mean emotional immaturity. It can mean also, with this specific one, it almost looks like he's searching for something, which is very relevant to what we've been talking about before, because it's like, you're looking for something better. You're looking for better pastures, okay? So that could represent that you might have a harder time finding what you're looking for that emotionally satisfies you, and also is a path that makes sense in terms of your emotional maturity, in terms of what is right for your heart. If you get stuck in the either thinking too much, not taking action, or the opposite, some of you, like I said, might get stuck so much in zooming fast forward as much as possible because you just want to get out of here, you want to, get away from this feeling of dissatisfaction, and not dreaming enough, not thinking, or even maybe dreaming big enough too, because I can see sometimes the King of Cups is like, you need to dream bigger, reversed, okay? Because he's a card of emotions, he's the card of the heart, he's the card of also our relationships with other people, okay? So that might be a hint to pile number 3 that in the future, part of what will help you out of this place is healthy relationships with other people. Okay, so maybe right now you're kind of relying a little bit too much on unhealthy relationships with other people. That can be a King of Cups reversed energy as well. And so then in that case, if that applies to you, Spirit is asking you to seek out more healthy relationships. Maybe some of you literally are living a relationship and that's why, is because it's unhealthy. Okay, in which that, if that's the case too, that can represent that maybe what's, if you don't take action fast enough, you might miss this person. It's because he's reversed right now, if you're like looking for another partner after this. Okay, so as I always say, kind of extrapolate that to your situation. Let's look at your oracle cards to see more advice as well as maybe heads up about things coming ahead here, pile number 3. So first we're going to ask your angels with the angel guide oracle what they want to say. So angels of pile number 3, what is your advice, or what do you want to say to them? Thank you, about this situation. Okay, I'm feeling this one right here. You received inner child healing. Interesting. Okay, so that's a bit of a plot twist, pile number 3. So inner child healing, pile 3, as it says on the tin, is often about needing to heal something that was wounded within childhood. I almost wonder maybe some of you are leaving family behind maybe that's part of what has been wounded, because oftentimes inner child wounds come from what happened with our families when we were young. Maybe a lot of what got you in the situation in the first place was something that was not healed, that was an inner child wound. Okay? In which case, part of your adventure forward to greener pastures is to heal this wound before you attempt trying to find something better. Okay? That might be even why some of you are being asked, if you are taking action really quick, to slow down, because you need to slow down to heal that inner child wound. Okay? Some of you too, maybe if it's you're dreaming so much and you're not taking action, it's an inner child wound of a lack of confidence in self to move forward. Okay? So that's actually maybe some of where the emotional healing of the King of Cups came forward here as the outcome. So you're being asked to really, really, above anything else right now, pile number 3, focus on your emotional healing and inner child healing. I'm actually going to draw one more tarot card on that because I want to ask more about what Spirit is talking about with that. So Spirit, or Angel specifically, with pile 3, what... give me some more context with the inner child healing. What's that all about? Thank you. Oh boy, that was quick. Okay. Let's see what popped out. We have the Forge, which I believe is Temperance. Yes, because it's fire meeting water. Okay. I apologize. It's going to be a tad bit repetitive, pile number 3. But we have a card of moderation and balance between two different things. And that's exactly what I was talking about before with the 7 of Cups reversed, between the balance between dreaming and action. Okay, dream. Some of you get caught in that thinking stage, don't take action. Some of you, action, and you're just going forward on the path that, is immediately visible to you, but you're not dreaming big enough, okay? This is a card of finding balance between two extremes, just like the fire and the water with the blacksmith here when he's forging the sword, okay? And so what that means in relevance to your inner child healing, because that's what we drew it for, is these angels are saying that the inner child wound that needs to be healed to help you make progress in this area is an inner child wound that is a tendency to go towards extremes, okay? They want you to heal this inner child wound by finding moderation to help you get to a place of moderation, a place that's perfect for you. It's almost like Goldilocks, right? Because she ate was it porridge? I think it was porridge, something like that. Correct me down in the comments below if it wasn't porridge. Pretty sure that's what it was. She often, things that she said, oh, this porridge is too hot, or oh boy, this porridge is too cold. Oh, this porridge is just right. And you're looking for just right. Okay. And in order to get to just right, you need to figure out what is just right for you. Okay, and I know that sounds weird because it's like, well, duh, of course I know what's just right for me, but sometimes we think we know what's just right for us until we try it, and then we're like, oh, actually this porridge is maybe not the right temperature. Okay, so don't be afraid to explore as well. Don't be afraid to explore different things. Like I said, you don't have to figure out all the answers in one attempt or one try or one direction. Oftentimes in life, we go one direction, find out, oh, this isn't the best direction for me, and then we do a reverse Uno card 180 on the universe, and we go a completely different direction, and that's okay, pile number 3. We don't have to always know the exact right path forward, and maybe that's part of that inner child wound is maybe your family always expected you to know what to do, and without giving you guidance. Maybe that inner child wound is you saw parents that made hasty decisions, or, on the opposite end, maybe they dreamed too much, but they never let themselves go after those big dreams. They just kind of went with like, well, this path makes sense, I guess, to me, instead of going with what they actually wanted deep down inside. Okay, so explore what, just to summarize for all of you, explore what the theme of moderation and balance means to you in relation to your childhood. Okay, that's what the angels want you to explore. Now, let's look at ask your guides oracle, ask your spirit guides what they want to say. Now we already talked to the angels. So spirit guides for pile 3, what's your advice on the situation for them? Oopsie, I almost dropped the deck. Oofda. Okay, spirit guides. feeling this one right here. Spirit guides want to say caution. Okay. This is especially for those of you, and this is your guardian angel specifically, that's the card that came out. For those of you especially that are going really fast on something to get away from something, they're saying slow down. That might be literally what the Eight of Wands reversed was too. It might have been not so much that you feel a stagnancy or you're afraid of stagnancy. It might be a piece of advice right now to move into slower movement, okay? Caution. Don't go so fast, okay? Attend to your wounds. Attend to your emotional healing. Attend to your dreams before you move on forward, okay? Caution doesn't mean stop. Okay, so you can still take action forward, pile number 3. But what caution does mean is slow down and look at your surroundings, because you might miss something if you don't slow down. Okay, I almost see it as your spirit guide saying, hey, wait a minute, you're focused on this thing right in front of you, or this path that is right in front of you. But you might not necessarily be seeing this neon flashing sign we're putting over here towards a path that's even better. Okay. So when you're looking for moderation, when you're looking for those greener pastures, when you're looking for something that is more emotionally supportive of you, is a better place, it's not a dust bowl, right? The crops aren't failing. Make progress cautiously. Okay, moderation, once again, that's literally what that means too, is take action with moderation. That's literally the definition of caution, okay? Is to be aware but keep going. All right. Don't take any big risks. Be cautious. But don't feel like you have to stop either, okay? Now let's look at, last but not least, your Power of a Surrender card. It's just kind of a final piece of advice or a message from Spirit. All right, what would you like to leave them with today, my wonderful Spirit, for pile 3? Thank you so much for your advice. Okay, I'm feeling more up here towards the top. Right there. Okay. And your surrender card is surrender your ego. Okay. Bit of a plot twist here too. Cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. Okay, so the last piece of advice on this path forward to greener pastures, pile 3, is, as the card says on the 10, surrender your ego. As you go forward, always keep in mind the advice of, what am I grateful for? Despite maybe the situation I've been through or am going through currently. Keep in mind, how can I be of service to others on this path? And maybe that's even the path that they're trying to point you towards. Maybe it's, say it is a job that you left and you're like, man, I don't know what career I want to do now. Maybe it's a career in service to others. Maybe it's in healthcare. Maybe it's in food service to other people, like being a chef or baker, etc., a caterer. Maybe it's a job in service to others in terms of the law. Maybe it's whatever it is, pile number 3. I could insert a million different job titles here. Part of your path forward is going to be, how can I be of service to others? Okay. And then the third part here is come from your heart. What does your heart feel right now? Where is your heart pointing you towards? Okay. And I think that's why they're asking you to be cautious. Keep taking action, go forward with moderation, but listen to your heart along the way. It's almost like, I think maybe you've been kind of propelling yourself forward too much through the mind and not enough with the heart. Okay, so keep the heart in balance with the mind here. Don't listen too much to what logical mind says, okay? Because logical mind is great. We love listening to our logic and intelligence and the ideas that part of our brain has, but our gut and our heart also have a lot of wisdom to share that sometimes logic doesn't always answer for, okay? And then humility too. Humility will also help you on the way forward. Choose the humble path. Choose the path of being humble. Okay. Which, I'm not exactly sure how that applies to every single one of you, because that card is a bit of a, speaking of reverse Uno cards, all of a sudden we have a message about ego coming through. But as always with these readings, I feel like, for those of you that resonates with, maybe it's something as small as me mentioning, choose a path of service, and then it clicks in your mind and you're like, oh, I need to go towards this direction to be of service to others, okay? So yeah, take that as that resonates, but Yeah, overall, beautiful reading, pile 3. I think you're well on your way towards better pastures. Okay, there's just a little bit of adjustment that needs to be taken into account in terms of moderation, in terms of, what does your heart feel with this, okay? And, not going too fast, but not going too slow, and balancing, as I said, between dreams versus taking action, okay? So that's a reading for today from the universe, pile 3. I hope, of course, most of all that you liked it and it helped you. That's what I care about most. So please like the video. Please comment down below your story. Please subscribe to Lone Pine Tarot if you have not done so already. And as I always say in our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, full of clear paths and greener pastures, as I said. Away from dust bowls, right? Those aren't fun. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.